All right. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I still can hear you. Hello, everybody. All right. Welcome to the session Leadership in the area of digital transformation, on specific digital disruption. This session is going to explore the evolving leadership role in a critical area of total digital disruption. It will highlight the critical role of leaders of four things. Number one, inspiring and driving change within an organization, addressing challenges to the rapid technology advancement, as well as shifting market dynamics and managing crisis. Please help me to welcome our panelists. But before let me introduce myself. My name is Ahmed Abdul Wahab, and I'm the CEO of Next Arabia, a boutique innovation advisory firm. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. So help me to welcome our panelists. Number one, Shailendra. He's the CEO of Sibyl Kenya. Come in. Then Fred. He's the CEO of Belva Group. Vera. He's the CEO and he's a country manager Kenya of Zoho. And last but not least, Sailesh Savani. He's the CEO and founder of Complu Linux. Welcome, everybody, on board. Just some logistics. This session is going to be exactly 24 minutes, maximum 24 minutes. And we wanted to make it as interactive as possible. And in order to make sure that you get maximum value, we're going to start with you. What kind of burning question do you have when it comes to leadership in a digital age of disruption? You got all the attention. Please sit down. Yeah? Any question before we start? No question? Okay. You will have the opportunity during a session to ask questions. So the topic is leadership in the area of digital disruption. I prepared questions and etc., but you know what? Forget all the questions. Over the last couple of days, we have seen a drama, literally a drama when it comes to leadership in the digital age that we are living on. We all heard about Sam Altman, what happened with him, he in, out with OpenAI. Let's start with that as a matter of fact. Who can give us a quick download of what happened the last couple of days if we take that as an example? Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, right. Thanks, Ahmed. Thanks for having me here. What happened at OpenAI is simply put in a lot of chaos. So it's like a drama where he just left and then he came back within a day, within like what, 5 days, 6 days? That's what has happened. But from a leadership point of view, from my point of view again, the way if I look at it, I would say it's a complete failure of the OpenAI board. Which could have been an easiest one. They could have discussed and then whatever needed to be agreed, they could have agreed sometime last week. Satya had to do some big stunt, and then some has to go to Microsoft, and then come back to OpenAI. It's all a big chaos. I believe that this is something that could have been discussed and closed within a closed room, but now maybe this is one way of promoting OpenAI and Microsoft. I wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm. Any other comment before we actually talk into, before we take a step back and talk about the actual topic? It's just so great that this topic, it just happens a couple days ago. This literally drama about our topic.
Thanks, Ahmed. I'm happy to jump in. I think it's the first time probably seeing employees fire the board and reinstate the CEO.
Say it again?
So that's quite impressive.
Say it again. Very important.
The very first time we're seeing employees fire the board
I like
and,
that.
and recall the CEO and say, this is our leader, we're going to stick with him through thick and thin. So it's fantastic to see a bit of shift in power as well and leverage.
One more comment?
Yeah, I think what Altman has done is really created leaders in his organization who could come in front and say, we want this guy back. You know? So he'd created that bond as a leader in the organization and empowered his people enough to go and tell the board, guys, you're wrong. This is not the right move. We need this guy back, else we are off the board. And I think that was an amazing trait of leadership. And as leaders, we're not here to create followers. We're here to create leaders and empowered leaders who are able to speak up and say the truth. And I think that is an interesting trait that must happen in all leaders. That's my take on this.
Shanda, one more comment?
I think money wins. The biggest shareholder is Microsoft. And I think Microsoft had a huge influence in terms of what happened. So I believe the CEO coming back is thanks to Microsoft and their intervention.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So in other words, whatever we have learned about leadership, it does not apply in a disruptive area. It does not apply at all. Everything what we have learned would never be possible if we just applied it in that word. In a traditional company, absolutely what we have learned, we could easily apply it. But when it comes to digital disruption, things change. It's a complete different business model. And that also means a different kind of leadership. Let's take a step back. Let's introduce ourselves very briefly. If you could just briefly introduce yourself, and then also give us a quick download of why leadership is so important, particularly in this kind of situation where we are right now.
Thanks again. My name is Veera Kumar. I'm the team lead for Kenya. I lead the team here in Kenya for Zoho. See, the leadership is not just leading some team towards some goals, doing the numbers or revenue or whatever. It's more like leading the individuals towards, it's like you are building, as a leader, you build not just the company, also the individuals. Mm-hmm. So it's very important in any period, not just now, but anytime it's, the leader has to choose the right team, and then they have to build the team in the right way so that they are not lost in transition or they are not lost when the growth happens. Mm-hmm. So I think it's more important, the leadership is very important in any time so that the team sticks together, the company keeps growing.
As a follow-up question, leveraging what happened with Sam Altman, what does it mean for your employees?
Okay, that's a good thing. So it looks like, okay, one way of saying it, it's kind of a unionization, yes. They came as a union, like the old school, but actually speaking, it gives more comfortable to all the employees across the globe that yes, if you are working towards a single goal and if you have a good relationship, a good working relationship in terms of vision and workmanship with your team leader, I'm sure you can even fight with the board and bigger muscle than where you are right now. Mm-hmm. In this case, the employees could fight the board of OpenAI. So I think that's my take.
Excellent, Fred. As the youngest CEO on this panel, if you introduce briefly yourself and what does leadership mean for you in a digital age of disruption?
I didn't know my age was showing, but thank you. So my name again, Fred Kithinzi. I prefer to be called a cheerleader, which is evolution of CEO in my terms. Yeah. Of Belva Group. We are a MarTech company. I think the evolution of leadership is we need to shift from the pyramid where power is concentrated at the apex to the tree concept where the leadership is the root. And then the second in command are the trunks. And then you've got the branches and the leaves, which is really the major team, the implementation team. In this sense, you then distribute responsibility to a lot of branches, as opposed to working with a very vertical approach to leadership, where every decision must be made by the next higher ups. And also it gives you scalability because if you cut one branch, the tree really remains the tree. And if one branch is not bearing fruits, you can actually chop it off and another branch will come up. As opposed to where everything is concentrated in one center. And if that center crashes, then nothing happens. So I think with the evolution of digital and technology is how do we adopt more agility within our structures so that we are more liberal, we are more democratized, and we are letting people to be as empowered as the senior leaders as well. Yeah.
As a follow-up question, with your company, you're running a company with a lot of young people. How do you lead them? Because these young people, they are not so easily to manage. They wake up whenever they wake up, and they go home whenever they go home. So how do you ensure as the leader they actually do their job?
Yeah, Gen Z.
Exactly.
My favorite generation. I think for Gen Z, there are three things I think you must appreciate. That first, this is the first generation to be born in the internet age. And then secondly, they used conversation, two-way conversation. You grew up in the TV age, on radio age, where you are told. They've grown up in an age where they post on Facebook, on Twitter, and they get responses back. So they're used to feedback. They're used to having conversations. And thirdly, identity for them is not material, but purpose. They do not want just to work hard to buy the next car and have a nice wife and a husband and retire in a holiday somewhere. They want to do impactful things. They want to go home feeling they're actually making a change in their lives and the people around them. So once you understand that, then you need to create an environment that meets those three things. First is, are you creating a connection? They crave the internet connection, but also crave the human connection, maybe physical or virtual. Then are you creating an environment where feedback is encouraged? That it's not the boss's word. That you actually anyone within the level of employees can actually contribute to brainstorms and conversations. And then thirdly, you actually not just profit-driven organization only, that you actually have another mission other than to make money. So once that is clear, I think you really have a fantastic time with Gen Z. And again, just keep your mind open to whatever they throw at you. I think that's one thing that will guide you.
Excellent, thank you. Silas, if you would briefly introduce yourself, please, and give us a quick download. What are the key characteristics of a strategic leader in the digital age? How do you characterize them?
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Sailesh Savani. I am the founder and CEO of CompuLinks. We are a 29-year-old company. So I'm really OG. Probably, my age is the total of some few people here. But I'm the CEO, and I define my role as the Chief Energizing Officer and Chief Empowering Officer. That's my role. I empower people in my organization. And I think as leaders, I personally feel that I don't want to be the smartest person in my team. I want people who are smarter than me. I don't want people to take direction from me, but show me direction as well. And I think I definitely am not the smartest person in my team. I'm smart enough to engage and employ smarter people in my team, and that's my role, who are smarter than me. And especially talking about the Gen Z and Gen whatever, I think it's a lot of these guys, the entire population for that matter, in that generation is really looking at what impact are they making, and they are really, like you said, purpose-driven. And I think that's my role in the company, to inspire them, to show them the purpose of the company, and show them their role in the bigger picture, on the bigger scheme of things. And that's what drives me every day. I don't wake up every day in the morning and say, okay, let me go to the office and make more money. I think I'm beyond that as a leader. And I think for me, it's about really developing people, empowering people, and creating an environment where people are able to speak up. And I think the other thing about leadership for me is walking the talk. I will, for me, it's really important that I walk the talk, I walk the values of the organization, and I do it every day impeccably, without fail. And that's what counts for me.
Excellent. Shailendra, if you could briefly introduce yourself and give us some advice how to build a culture of innovation, a culture of change, a culture of disruption. How do you do that?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Shailendra Yadav. I am CEO for Sibyl, Sibyl Kenya. Sibyl as a company is a 30-year-old company present across East Africa, and I take care of Kenya and Tanzania business. Today I'm leading a team of about 140 people. And
in Kenya?
In Kenya and Tanzania together.
Yeah.
A bigger chunk being in Kenya. And when it comes to leadership, I think the great minds have spoken before me, and I 100% agree with everything that has been said. What we have brought in terms of culture for disruption is to give to one delegate authority as well as responsibility. Because if you want somebody to innovate something, if you want somebody to create something, they need to have the right kind of authorities so they can take those calls, they can make an investment proposal if it need be, and at the same time being responsible for that, because you cannot create something without being responsible for it. So I think in my perspective, dealing with today's people, dealing with the new generation employees, they demand authority, they demand that decision-making power, but at the same time, we need to hold them accountable as well. That's something that I believe, or I feel sometimes is lacking. People want to have authority, but not responsibility. And trying to put them together is what helps.
If I follow up on a question on that, so what you mentioned is in order to create really a culture of change and innovation, you need to create a kind of an environment for disruptors. Disruptors means as well troublemakers. And where troublemakers, there's conflicts. So how do you incentivize tough discussion, but at the same time manage conflicts?
I think it's difficult. Being human beings, it's always difficult to manage conflict.
Yeah.
But having open conversations, looking at allowing people, and that's something that we as leaders do. As Mr. Shailesh said, it's very true that we are not the smartest people in our company, but we are probably the most experienced people in the company, right? So what we do is to bring our experience on board to help resolve, help put a rationale to the discussion, and make sure that people are able to understand that there are different points of views. Those point of views need to be appreciated, and those point of views need to be looked at. One thing I've seen, the conflicts are constant. They keep changing, but they are always there. Today the topic will be different, tomorrow the topic will be another one. But eventually when you help people, we as leaders, we help people, the other side, understand and not take sides, but help people to come to consensus, eventually those conflicts will reduce. They will move on to different conflict, but those conflicts which were there will reduce. And I think that means it will never flare up to a situation wherein people cannot talk to each other.
Yeah.
Can I throw in a rejoinder, if you don't mind? The culture for innovation, for it to thrive, I think the best way to do is to remove controls. Mm-hmm. We seem to come up with policies for everything, from vacation to holiday to work from home to cab and travel, and what we don't realize is controls are there for the lazy people, not for your talented people, not for your self-driven people. Your self-driven people are responsible enough to know that they cannot, show up at 10 a.m. Or that they should be at a meeting on time. So what that then is, you end up keeping your non-performers, because then you've created controls to manage them, and your high performers are then highly likely to leave, because then you keep stifling innovation, you keep putting them in a box, and yet expecting them to get innovative. So we need to rethink about the policies we seem to get excited about and seem to keep creating, which then are stifling the innovation.
That's a very good point. Vera, leaders must be capable of making sense of a lot of data. We heard earlier today and yesterday about a lot of data, AI, market trends. coming and making decisions in real time. How do you manage complexity in the leadership in the digital age?
Like every other question, this is also a bit difficult question in terms of.
That's a
when it
difficult
comes
session.
To the, exactly, yeah. When it comes to the practical sense of managing the complexity, okay, we can easily say yes. Please use right IT tools. That's what we have been talking since yesterday. That use this, this vendor or this vendor's product, so we can ease up the work environment and the customer experience and all that stuff. So same goes here as well. So bring in the right tools. I mean, the way our fellow panelists has said, yes, keep it open, remove the controls, yes, but how do we remove the controls? Still, we make sure that the sense prevails within the team. So what can be better than having a right set of tools, whether it is managing the KPIs or giving building the team or allowing them to work from home or wherever they want to work from. I think it's having the right tool and then making sure that we use it in the right way, whether we go with what kind of metrics that we want to have it. And I think that's one of the ways of handling the complex scenarios.
Mm-hmm. Anything to add?
So just maybe to add on to what I was saying earlier as well, and I agree with him as well, that within controls you have to set the context, right? And a lot of this is borrowed from Netflix. I think it's the best book I've read about leadership this year. It's called No Rules Rule. That Netflix culture has been built around removing rules, so that then people are then a lot more flexible, have the room to be innovative. I think today I read an article where Jack Dorsey has removed PIPs, and he said separation will be immediate. Because sometimes we create PIPs in the hope that the non-performer will then turn around and then become better. Obviously, we have to work in the context of labor laws in our countries, but sometimes those are ways where we slow down our output and deliverable because we creating too many barriers to the innovation.
Maybe a follow-up question to that. How can we measure and evaluate success in this regard? How can we measure and evaluate success?
I think what it downs to what your true north is. What did you set as your north, your focus for the year? If you said we want to grow our customer base by 20%, we want to open a new market, we want our product shipment to increase to Y. So that should be the core of what really is success. And then how does everybody else in the company contribute to that success? And ideally, mistake we also tend to make is having too many goals. I think there's a science study that's been done that if you have 3 goals, you're likely to achieve 2 of them.
Yeah.
If you have 10 goals, you're likely to achieve 1 of them. So sometimes as companies, we need to be very specific on the number, and precisely if they can be reduced to 3, mambo ni matatu has been had, it can help everybody remain focused. This is what we are trying to achieve, and then try to have your QBRs, your quarterly business reviews, where you sort of looking at everybody where we are towards achieving that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Silas, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think, we are a very number-driven company.
Yeah.
So 10, 15 years back, we would have goals like we want to expand into the region, or, we want to have more products or more customers. And like you said, how do you measure that, right? So any goal that my team takes that's not measurable is fluff.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've been able to, remove fluff. If you can't measure it, you will not be able to do it. So what is measured gets done. I think that's the rule for our goals. So anything that we take on as an activity, we must have a measure against it. And if you can't measure it, forget about it. It's not a goal. I don't want you to pursue that. That's our rule, and I think everybody understands that. So we've removed a lot of fluff from our organization. So there's no fluff, and there's no dreams that cannot be measured. I think dreams must also be measurable. Otherwise, they just remain dreams.
Maybe as a follow-up question to anyone. To do so, you need a kind of a data or intelligence driven decision model. How do you develop that? when you take out all the fluff and really focus on not just data, but real intelligence? How you do that practically?
So what we do is, I mean, for every goal that's taken, for example, we define where is the data going to come from. So what's the source of data? So we have columns for what's the goal, what's the measure, what's the source of data, and whether a higher is good or lower is good. So we have a very stupid but scientific way of measuring this. It's on an Excel sheet, and it's all automated, and it's all numbers. And so we have defined the source of data right from the word go. So we're not going to say, okay, now show me the data. Oh no, I don't know where the data is going to come from. So I think we've evolved as an organization, and our systems have evolved so that we ensure that whatever is being taken as a measure, the source of that data is well defined. And if that source is not a tangible source, we don't take it. I don't know whether that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe if you just add one.
Yeah, if I may take it to a different level. In our case, we are not a product company. We are a services company.
Yeah.
So with respect to the previous point, we can't have an open culture when you have SLAs to deliver to your customer, because there are specific timelines in terms of responsiveness, in terms of fixing the problem, and those commitments is what is a revenue for the company. So you can never say, okay, it's a completely flexible working hours. You can come when you want to come. You don't attend a call if you don't want to. We can't do that. So we have to stick to those basic parameters. Coming back to the data, interestingly for us, for me particularly, I trust data from the ground. And what I mean is, if my customer tells me that they are happy, they are seeing the responsiveness, they believe our engineers are doing what they are supposed to do, they're getting the service that they want.
Yeah.
For me, that matters more than the help desk system telling me more tickets are closed and the first call resolution is better and we have 90% success rate. Because in my honest opinion, data can be manipulated.
Yeah.
People who want to meet certain parameters, they will manipulate that data to meet those parameters. But the real pulse of the ground is, in my opinion, is the most reliable data.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Just quickly to wrap up, what we have learned so far is leadership in the digital age is not what we used to believe. We used to believe you need to organize, you need to manage them, you need to give them a task, and you need to control them, you need to follow up with them, and all of the stuff. It's not there anymore. No more control or so, but rather empowering them. Empower them. We work based on their preferred timings, their preferred way of doing things, as long as they deliver. So just very quick, please, in 15 seconds, each one of you, your 3 or 4 takeaways what the leader in a digital age should be doing, or his characteristics, or her characteristics.
Thanks. Okay, something that's working in our company, we are a product-based company anyway, so I would say in this time and this age, have a smaller team and then build leaders at every level, whether you have a frontline sales or frontline marketing, frontline support, or the product lead, and so on. Build leaders at every level, and then have multiple smaller teams where they can work cohesively, and then in that way you build your company as well. I believe that would be the one of the best ways to go about it.
Excellent. 15 seconds. 15 seconds.
I would say build an inclusive, collaborative environment that will then empower people to build the next brands or support the businesses of the future.
I like it. And it was 11 seconds.
Yeah, I would say empower, be compassionate, walk the talk, and inspire.
Lead by examples, set the right expectations from the team, let them understand their responsibility, and I think the job will be done.
Excellent. One more thing, and Steve Jobs always says, one more thing. What about failure? What about failure?
I think only people fail who try. So if there's no failure, there's something wrong. So I think failure is a good teacher. You should be ready to fail, but you should learn from it and not do such mistakes again.
Absolutely. Fail in order to succeed. Thank you very much. Asante sana, everybody. And this is the end of the session. And I believe, Kelly, we are on time.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for